Level 1 is the Polished Patriot. At Level 1, you are a clean slate. You have spent 12 weeks at Fort Benning, being yelled at by men who've forgotten the sound of their own mother's voices. You have learned how to take apart an M16 in the dark until your fingers bleed. And you genuinely believe that the weapon is an extension of your own arm. The analytical breakdown of this level is simple. This is the indoctrination phase. The military has successfully replaced your individual identity with operational procedure. You move when you are told. You eat when you are told. And you believe that evil is something that lives across an ocean in a place you cannot even spell correctly. You feel immortal because you are surrounded by 50,000 other boys who look exactly like you. You think you are going to a battle? You do not realize you are going to a metabolic processing plant. The fundamental flaw in Level 1 is your perception of fear. Your biggest fear is your drill sergeant. You think that war is a series of organized events with a beginning, a middle, and a victory parade. The solution is that you are forced into Level 2, the Metabolic Shock. Level 2 is the arrival. The moment the cargo ramp lowers at Cam Ranh Bay, your Level 1 reality is deleted. The first thing that hits you isn't a bullet, it is the atmospheric weight. The temperature is over 100 degrees, and the humidity is a physical hand pressing against your chest, trying to steal the breath from your lungs. The air tastes like jet fuel, burnt human waste, and rotting vegetation. This is geographic hostility. Your body, designed for the temperate climate of the Midwest, is now in a state of systemic panic. Within 48 hours, you transition from a soldier to a survival organism. The analytical depth here is about sensory overload. Your skin is never dry. Your uniform is a wet rag that sandpaper scratches your inner thighs until they bleed. You are introduced to the leech, a silent, rubbery parasite that finds the gaps in your socks and drinks until it is the size of your thumb. You realize that your equipment is failing you. Your rifle, which worked perfectly in the dry air of the States, now jams if a single grain of tropical silt enters the chamber. You are now an FNG, a fairly new guy. To the veterans who have been here for 6 months, you are already dead. They won't learn your name because names are emotional liabilities they cannot afford to lose. The flaw in Level 2 is that you still think you can win. You think that if you follow the manual, you will stay safe. The result is your push into Level 3, the Paranoia Architect. Level 3 is the Paranoia Architect. You are on your first search and destroy mission. You are walking through elephant grass that cuts your skin like tiny razors. This is where you learn the architecture of the invisible. You are surrounded by 400 inches of rainfall a year and a canopy so thick that the sun never touches the forest floor. You aren't looking for a battlefield. You are looking for signs. A broken twig, a misplaced leaf, a footprint that shouldn't be there. The analytical structural breakdown of Level 3 is psychological attrition. The enemy understands that they do not need to kill you to win. They just need to keep your stress cortisol at 100% for 365 days. They use low-tech terror. The Punji steak isn't designed to kill you instantly. It is designed to pierce your boot and infect your blood with bacteria and human waste. It takes 4 of your comrades to carry you out, effectively removing 5 human assets from the field with 1 cent worth of sharpened bamboo. You start to realize that the jungle is an active participant in the war. Every rustle of a leaf is a sniper. Every vine is a tripwire connected to a bouncing Betty mine that will jump to waist height before spraying 500 steel balls into your midsection. In Level 3, you are just a frightened animal. You are burning through your mental reserves too fast. The solution is to reach Level 4. The Tunnel Rat. Level 4 is the Tunnel Rat, because you are small of stature, or perhaps because you drew the shortest straw in a squad of unlucky men. You've been given the subterranean promotion. Underneath the jungle floor is a second world, a shadow civilization. Thousands of miles of tunnels, some 3 stories deep, containing hospitals, barracks, and weapon factories. You have to go in. You strip off your gear, take a flashlight and a .45 caliber pistol, and crawl into a hole that is barely wider than your shoulders. The analytical depth of the Tunnel Rat experience is primal deep. In the tunnels, there is no high command. There is no air support. There is only the absolute zero of human existence. The air is stagnant and smells of earth and old sweat. You have to move in total silence. filling for tripwires with your fingertips in the pitch black. If you encounter an enemy in the dark, it is a symphony of violence in a space no larger than a coffin. This is a level where your civilized brain dies. You are no longer a soldier. You are a predatory rodent. You learn to hear the heartbeat of the man in the dark before you see him. If you come out of that hole, you leave your fear of death behind. You have already been buried alive. You have seen the foundations of the war, and they are made of dirt and blood. But you are only halfway through. You think level 4 is the peak of the horror? You think that surviving the underworld means you have paid your dues? You are mistaken. You have only just begun to lose your humanity. The war is about to stop being a mission and start being a sacrifice of the self. We are moving from the dirt to the fire. We are moving from self-defense to self-destruction. Phase 1 is complete. The moral erosion is commencing. You are now entering the heart of the machine. The metrics of survival have changed. You no longer count the days until you go home. You count the seconds until the next ambush. You have become part of the landscape, a jagged piece of steel in a world made of soft green leaves. The transition is now irreversible. You are about to see what happens when the industry of war decides that the environment itself is the enemy. Level 5 is the scorched solution. Be level 5. You have realized a terrifying truth. You cannot kill the jungle, so you decide to delete it. This is the industrialization of despair. You watch the napalm drops from a distance. It is a jelly-like gasoline that sticks to everything it touches. Trees, grass, and human skin. The analysis here is the symmetry of total war. To deny the enemy cover, you must destroy the entire ecosystem. You are introduced to Agent Orange, a toxic chemical defoliant that falls like a poisonous mist, turning the lush green canopy into a skeletal, gray wasteland within a matter of days. The analytical depth of level 5 is detached dehumanization. You sit on a hill and watch a village burn because a sniper might have been hiding in the third hut from the left. You justify it through strategic necessity. You are told that you are saving the village by destroying it. This is a cognitive dissonance that shatters your psyche. You stop seeing the local population as people and start seeing them as variables in a fatal equation. The farmer is a potential combatant. The woman is a supplier. The child is a future insurgent. You have automated your conscience. You eat your warm rations while watching the horizon glow with the light of 1,000 burning homes. You have reached absolute moral neutrality. In level 5, you believe that technology and fire can buy you safety. The result is your descent into level 6. The moral erosion. Level 6 is the 1,000-yard stare. You have been in the country for 10 months. You have reached the terminal velocity of trauma. You are now a practitioner of the 1,000-yard stare. This isn't just a look. It is a psychological disconnect. Your mind has retreated into a bunker deep inside your skull to protect itself from the endless data stream of horror. You have seen your best friend, the boy from your graduation ceremony, vanish in a cloud of red mist or be torn apart by a hidden wire. You have seen the Mekong Delta turn a shade of red that doesn't exist in nature. The structural analysis of level 6 is moral injury. This is a wound that doesn't bleed, but it never heals. You find yourself participating in search and destroy missions that feel more like search and evade. You realize that the body count, the ultimate key performance indicator of this war, is a lie. If it is dead, and it is Vietnamese, the officers counted as a combatant to satisfy the hunger of the statisticians in Saigon. You are part of a metrics-driven slaughter. You stop caring about the cause. You stop caring about the flag. You only care about the calendar. You have a short time arrest stick where you notch off the days until you can leave this green hell. You are a ghost inhabiting a body that still knows how to pull a trigger and clean a rifle. You have lost the ability to feel joy, anger, or even grief. You are operationally functional but spiritually extinct. You think that if you can just make it to your date of return, you will be safe. You think the nightmare has a border. You are wrong. The final level awaits. Level 7 is the walking ghost. You made it. You did your time. You stepped onto the Freedom Bird and flew across the Pacific in 20 hours, transitioning from the Stone Age violence of the jungle to the Space Age luxury of California. But you're home. Level 7 is the eternal echo. You find yourself standing in a brightly lit grocery store, staring at 30 different types of breakfast cereal, and you feel a sudden, violent surge of rage. Why are these people smiling? Why don't they know about the leeches? Why don't they know about the tunnels? Why are they complaining about the price of milk when you have seen men trade their lives for a single canteen of water? The analytical depth of level 7 is absolute alienation. You are suffering from complex post-traumatic stress. But in 1970, they don't have a clinical name for it yet. They call it combat fatigue or look at you with a mixture of pity and fear. You are a walking anachronism. You are 20 years old with the soul of a 90-year-old gravedigger. You realize that the jungle didn't stay in Southeast Asia. It followed you home. It lives in the static between radio stations. It lives in the backfire of a car that sounds exactly like an AK-47 ambush. You find yourself sleeping on the floor because the bed is too soft to be trusted. You find yourself scanning the white picket fences for tripwires in the middle of the afternoon. You have reached the final state of the soldier. You are the jailer and the inmate of your own memory. You realize that the industry didn't just take a year of your life. It took the ability to live the rest of it. You are a living monument to a conflict that the world is already trying to forget. The Vietnam experience was not a war in the traditional sense. It was a centrifuge. It spun to 0.7 million young men around until their core components separated and their identities shattered. Some died in the mud. Some survived the fire, but none truly returned. The industry of warfare is the only business model where the product is the systematic destruction of the producer. You are the result. A man who knows the price of a life and the true cost of a lie. The jungle never ends. It only changes its shape. You have watched the progression. You have seen the data. Now, we want to hear from you. Is war ever a necessary industry? Or is it just a massive logistical failure of the human species? If you could go back to level 1 and stand before that boy in the graduation gown, knowing what you know now about the humidity, the tunnels, and the 1,000-yard stare, what would you tell him? Would you tell him to run, or would you tell him that some ghosts are worth becoming? The archive is open for your testimony. This has been a psychological profile of the infantry experience. The jungle is waiting. It is always waiting. Subscribe to document the archive and ensure that the ghosts are never truly forgotten. The history of the spirit is written in the mud of the Mekong. Do not look away. Do not forget the cost of the metrics. We are closing the file for today, but the echo remains.